The following podcast contains spoilers for Veronica, or as they say in Spanish, Veronica. You have been warned!
Veronica.
I can't, we've discussed this, I can't roll my R's. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's scientifically impossible. You have been warned.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Benjamin Button, along with your host, Miguel. This actually works for this segment. Miguel Me Gusto. Didn't even think about that.
I thought, because we've been having audio problems, I thought your audio cut out. I was like, oh no.
No, my brain cut out, though. That was fun.
Glenn, I feel like I haven't seen you in multiple fortnights.
It's been a moon or two.
Since
our beloved faces have seen each other in the same room.
I miss it. I think Tenet was the last time I saw you when we saw Tenet.
Yeah, literally, this was like, a month ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Honestly, I spit on that.
It's been too long. Too long.
I got a little spit on my shirt now.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, how you been doing today?
I'm not bad. I'm a tired boy. I'm sleepy. My back problems. I'm getting old. But here's the deal. We got KFR to go through. We got news. We got love. We got spread it.
We got ketchup, and something tells me that you did not put any ketchup on your movie sandwich this week. Is that correct?
No ketchup on my movie sandwich.
No ketchup other than Veronica on your movie sandwich. So that brings it to me, I guess.
No, it's always you, my friend.
And it seems to be the case that whenever you don't watch any movies, I either watch a million movies or not that many movies, like normal amount of movies. Other than Veronica, which I had seen prior, I have only seen 2 movies this week.
Okay.
Both, funnily enough, in the horror variety. You know, it's a spooky season. We're on week 3 of our KFR Spooktacular. The first movie I watched last week is The House That Jack Built, written and directed by Lars von Trier, who, any of you who know his work, he's a weirdo. And
same.
Yeah. he's done movies like Antichrist, Nymphomania, Melancholia. He's a very depressed Danish man and makes movies about such. And I don't typically go for his movies, but this one I actually rather enjoyed because it seemed very self-aware. A lot of the reason I don't like him is he seems like he lets his depression, he thinks his depression is a personality trait.
Yeah.
Which I guess in a way it is, but like he goes a little too far. And this seemed a little like self-prodding, self-investigating kind of thing where like the main character is depressed or unfeeling, and the dialogue between him and you know, the person he's talking to the majority of the time, he's kind of just like pointing out his flaws and everything. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I had a lot of people tell me that this movie reminded them of my movie Eugene versus Humanity.
Oh.
Other than the fact that
how'd you feel about that?
At first I was a little taken aback just because I don't like Lars von Trier. And I was just like, that. I kind of take that as an insult. But then I watched it. I could see the similarities, although this is a little more pretentious than Eugene versus Humanity. But I still really enjoyed this. That's The House That Jack Built. I do suggest it for people that like Lars von Trier or just existential, you know, theoretical bullshit horror, I guess.
Yeah, I've been told about this movie a couple times. I've wondered if I myself should take a gander.
It does have a few dark, humorous moments. Like, it's not it's by no means a comedy, but there are definitely parts that are just like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And you know, you never see those in Lars von Trier movies. His movies are dreadful to the point where they're not fun to watch, in my opinion. Like, I'm fine with depressing movies if they feel realistic, but his are just like, oh, there's no hope. Oh, I'm Danish and sad and possibly a Nazi sympathizer. I don't know. That goes back to an interview he had during Melancholia, where I'm sure he just misspoke, but it did not sound good for him.
Yeah.
Then the second movie I watched last night at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville. It is called Possessor, which is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who is David Cronenberg's son. And I really enjoyed it. It's another thriller horror about this contract killer in this world where like contract killers can take over someone's body and make them kill their own loved one and shit.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was actually very interesting. It had a lot of gratuitous sex in it, in my opinion, but the story was interesting enough where that kind of was overshadowed.
Yeah.
But there was definitely a few parts where it's just like, why are you even showing this? Like, there's no point to it.
Yeah.
But it is a solid film. Okay. I really enjoyed it. That is Possessor, written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. And other than Veronica, that is all I watched this week. So wow. We got a little bit of news, and I'm gonna let you take it away.
Yeah. So really funny story actually. I was at the ass end of my shift yesterday. And I'm sitting down. I'm like, oh man, what a day of work. I'm gonna sit down and scroll on some Facebook a little bit, pass some time, and I get on Facebook and I just see an article that says, Regal Cinemas to reclose all theaters after No Time to Die delay. And just sitting at Regal Cinemas, having no idea what the hell is going on.
That's par for the course for Regal. They always seem to tell news outlets before they tell their employees, which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
I remember when my wife's theater was closing down because it was bought out by a car dealership. When that was going to shut down, they heard for like 2 weeks from news outlets and press people calling them and asking them if it was true. And they were just like, I don't know.
Yeah. My
guess is that it is, though. But yeah, Regal didn't tell them for 2 weeks after they had heard about it, which is some bullshit. But
so further reading the article, basically they're closing their UK theaters, and because of them being owned by Cineworld, they are most likely also going to close US theaters. But as far as I got an update email this morning, as far as it's concerned, we haven't heard anything. And they actually just recently updated the whole news article saying that Cineworld themselves, we can confirm we are considering the temporary closure for our UK and US cinemas, but our final decision has not yet been reached. Once we decide on a decision, we will further update our staff and customers as soon as we can.
Yeah, so it sounds like someone that is in that decision-making room spilled the beans to their friend who's a journalist.
Yeah.
And their friend who's a journalist just ran with it.
Because it broke out real fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and like, it would make sense. The only thing that bothers me is that they somehow the press finds out before the employees. That's the only thing that bothers me. Other than the fact that, the rest of the world seems to have this under control. And the only reason that America doesn't is because of piss poor leadership. So that's the only aspect that irritates me about this. Like, I understand it needs to happen, but I just want movies to go back to normal with normal releases. But I understand why they're
definitely not taking precautions the way they should have been since the start of all this. And I mean, if UK's shutting down their theaters too, I mean, it makes sense for also us to do it. I know one of my viewers themselves just had a classmate who got corona, so I think they're shutting down some schools too. So it's more than just the cinema. It's affecting more than just that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're hitting fall. We're getting a second outbreak. It's science. It's gonna happen. It would just be great if people actually listen to science and not some Fox News host.
Yes. So that is kind of the news. As of right now, there has been no actual decision made, whether between an email or the news articles. But it spread like wildfire as soon as it heard that they were talking about it. Also, it was like 2 a.m. when the article broke out in UK. So like I don't know what business leaders of Cineworld are just up at 2 a.m. like, all right, we need to talk about this right now.
2 a.m. in the UK?
Yeah, it was 2 a.m. when the articles broke out. So
interesting.
I was like, what?
What?
Like it was 9 here, but it was definitely like 2 a.m. there.
But yeah, I first found out while I was leaving the Colonial Theater after watching Possessor. You know, I was like, oh, I had a great night for movies. You know, went to the movie theater. It was social distancing. It was great. Good movie. Everything was great. Oh, theaters might close down again.
Yeah.
Fun. Okay.
Big fun.
Yeah. But yeah, that's. I think that's our only news. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's our big news. If I've got another quick thing. I mean,
might as well go for it.
Yeah, it's a little more lighthearted, I guess. Jamie Foxx has been confirmed to be Electro in the new Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland.
Oh, they're giving him another shot.
They're giving him another shot. Whether or not that confirms or not, whether they're doing the Spideyverse is beyond me. Whether they want to get Tobey Maguire in there, Andrew Garfield. I would love that, considering I think Andrew Garfield deserved a second chance. Here's the deal. With Paul Giamatti as the Rhino again.
Giamatti, that's the only thing I cared about.
That I want. That's what
honestly,
I want
like
right there.
I'm not a Spider-Man fan, so when it comes to if it is or is not a good Spider-Man movie, my opinion is completely null and void with that. But as far as movies go, for someone who doesn't know much about the Spider-Man universe and all that, the Amazing Spider-Man movies weren't that bad. They were enjoyable.
Yeah, I loved the second one more than a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the best superhero movies in a long time.
They got the suit nice. They had Andrew Garfield being quirky as all hell, being super Spider-Man,
and that final moment with Gwen Stacy.
Oh yeah, they risked a little bit.
Yeah, death fucking finally mattered in a goddamn Marvel movie. Are you kidding me? Like,
which if they do the Spideyverse, then it won't matter because Spider-Gwen is a thing. But we'll go down that road when we get there. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Hopefully they do what they were all hoping they do, or if not, they're literally just going to rewrite Electro a little bit and just have Jamie Foxx come back. So if they're going to do that, they better bring back Paul Giamatti because he wanted to be Rhino for so long.
I want him to be in more things. Like he's in a car commercial, a VW car commercial right now, and that's all he's really doing that I'm aware of.
It's really sad.
He's a fantastic actor.
120%.
He's always the best thing in anything
Rhino
he's in.
is what he's been wanting to do for a while, and he got a piss poor chance of it because they closed down 3, Amazing Spider-Man 3. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. A little bit of lighthearted news after a little bit of maybe dark news. We'll see down the road. But there we go.
Let's get into Veronica. Veronica. I can't do it, Glenn.
Lo que habéis hecho aquí es muy peligroso.
Quiere hacernos daño.
¿Pero quién?
No lo sé.
Tú también notaste algo. Aquello de lo que no te despides se queda contigo.
Aquello de lo que no te despides se queda contigo. No mováis.
¿Pero si estoy yo sola?
No.
Madrid, 1991. A teen finds herself besieged by an evil spiritual. Oh my god, I messed up.
You were so close.
Oh, dude, it sounded good too. Supernatural force after she played Ouija with 2 classmates. I'm so used to saying Ouija that it's just natural.
Yeah. Directed by Paco Plaza, written by Paco Plaza and Fernando Navarro, based on, or I guess the story was edited by Coral Cruz, starring Sandra Escacina, Bruna Gonzalez, Claudia Placer, and Yvonne Chavero. Or Ivan Chavero. I'm not sure how Spanish people would pronounce it. Probably Yvonne. But this is a horror film from Spain from 2017. I saw it in 2017, funnily enough.
Oh, wow.
Usually it takes a while to get over here. But I saw it when I was on a little business trip and was in my hotel room. And let's just say Spooky season's a good season to watch a demon possession movie.
Oh, 100%.
It's not spooky season until you watch a demon possession movie.
It hits a little different, as they say.
It does hit a little different. But yeah, since I've already seen this, I want you to kind of go over your thoughts first, begin this conversation. What did you think of Veronica?
Veronica.
I'm not doing that to be an asshole. I
know.
legitimately cannot roll my R's. I have tried so many times.
I actually enjoyed this a lot more than most demon possession or such thing movies. Mm-hmm. It actually handled everything really well. Between how they, what was that?
Me just sitting up in my chair. I've got an old ass computer chair.
All I heard is, I was like, hello? It's the Ouija? They handled a lot of things like really neatly. Like that one Iranian movie that we watched, I can't remember the name of, sadly.
Under the Shadow?
Yeah, I think so. It handled
like
a lot of things like that really well. You saw the demon / monster / spirit.
Confirmed it is Under the Shadow, by the way.
Okay, sick. So we saw that a lot, and we saw a lot of other things being manipulated in rooms, like just shadows and pieces of paper turning into a blaze, hot water, such like that. A lot of things going on in this movie with the very pissed off spirit.
Yeah,
and I thought it was really cool. Like everything pertaining to what the spirit did was really cool, and not like over exaggerated with loud noises and such like that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think contrasted to last week's film, The Monster, you don't really see the spirit too much, especially at first. When you see it at first, I think the first time you see it, and I could be mistaken about this, is I think it's either the first or second night, and the TV turns on its own, and she goes to turn off the TV, and while she's walking towards the TV, you just see a glimpse of it walking towards the TV in the hall room, just a dark shadow silhouette. And she doesn't see it.
It's just standing behind her when she walks away.
There's no jump scare noise associated with it. There's no. It's there. You see its reflection. It is beautifully handled. Yep. Very creepy, and it's especially after the unsubtlety of last week's film, which wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't as suspenseful as this.
Yeah,
it really makes you realize how much better less is more. Less is more.
I mean, it was really a cool thing because when that scene happened, it made me think of Signs, but it didn't feel like it was copying it. You see the reflection of the alien in the back, and the kid is being held by the alien. He's got his fucking wrist knife vessel,
the gas thing,
in his wrist. But it didn't feel like it was copying it. It just felt like maybe kind of an homage, but its own thing at the same time.
Yeah, like inspired from it, but changed it enough where it became its own thing.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was kind of really daunting. Kind of like, oh freak, that's kind of spoopy.
Yeah, it's really just a very suspenseful, creepy film. Probably the only instance in any demon possession movie where the mouth open agape, a wide open mouth during a possession was actually terrifying and not laughable. Yeah. Like when she first becomes possessed and when she last becomes possessed, it's done just enough where you're not sure if it was done with computers or if this actress can just open her mouth that wide.
I honestly don't know whether she did or not.
Yeah, and it was just creepy the way it was. It looked like it could be done, whereas most of the time it's just like, oh, that's impossible. Like even in a demon possession movie, like because
like definitely the last scene of the movie where she did have her mouth open, it was a little skeptical, but I mean you saw it in the beginning, her mouth being hugely wide open before, and now you're like, ugh.
And it was just super creepy too. It's that's not something that typically creeps me out. But because it is borderline possible and probable that, if there was any computer enhancement to that, it was very limited. Yeah. It's just the thing that a lot of American films forget is that things that are physically possible in the real world, I'm not talking about the spiritual world, but like if the spiritual world is interacting with the real world, there are still physical limitations to the physical things that they're interacting with.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of American horror movies forget. Like, oh, she's possessed now, so she can just open her mouth like a snake. And I think the only time that it probably works is that there's a found footage demon possession movie, something about Deborah or the something Deborah. I forget exactly.
They even do this in the Lord of the Rings. Scary Bilbo Baggins, man.
Oh yeah, but but it's just but yeah, when it's physically possible, it's a lot more terrifying because it's like,
yeah, that's
could it happen?
You know, it's more real than just like a CGI thing that's happening. Or
yeah, exactly.
Somebody's neck twisting in half or something.
And one of my favorite parts about this is the younger kids that are Veronica's siblings. They were great. They each had their own little personality. You know, they reacted in very childish ways. And Antonito,
Antonio,
and Antonito.
Is it Antonito?
It's not Antonio. It's not Antonio. It's Antonito.
Oh my man!
But when he's seeing these supernatural things happen, he thinks his sister is just being silly and kind of like laughs and smiles and is just confused. Whereas like in American horror movies, they just jump to straight being scared, which that's not how a kid would react. They'd be like, "Oh, you're doing something funny. What's happening?" Like, I don't understand. You're just holding a meatball up by your face and not eating it. I don't get it. But it was just very natural reactions to the point where I wonder if they, specifically him because he was a really young kid, if they told him what was happening, or if they just kind of had things.
Yeah, now you got me a little curious on it too.
Yeah, but her sisters were really well acted as well. Bruna or Lucia and Irene. They both kind of had like this little rascalness about them, and you could tell that they all really loved each other, and it really built the tension that way because you didn't want anything bad to happen to them. Again, another thing that happens in American horror movies is you want someone to die because there's usually an annoying character. But there's not really any annoying characters in this. They're all really natural. They're all really likable, and that.
Speaking of those characters,
that adds to it.
I hate high school, man.
Yeah.
High school bitches, man.
Yeah.
It really hurts my feelings.
And the thing, that's probably the weakest part of it, in my opinion, of this movie. She does the seance with her friends, Rosa, and I forget what Diana, or Diana, I think is how it's pronounced. She does the seance with them. Rosa is her best friend, but then starts like ignoring her. You think it's because she might think she's possessed. And then you find out later when she confronts her at a party that she's been avoiding her because she said she was going to die on that day.
Yeah.
And like if we did a seance together and you passed out and I heard you say I'm going to die June 15th.
Yep.
I would fucking make sure I was with you on June 15th to make sure that nothing bad happened to you.
Yeah, I want my outer body experience to see you holding my hand and kissing it and be like, no, you won't.
But not Rosa. Won't. Rosa was just like, I'm going to
Rosa's like,
be
I'm gonna
friends
go chill
with Diana.
Diana.
Yeah, it's I just, that's the one part that felt unrealistic to me.
Yeah, she didn't try to help in any way possible. She just super avoided the shit out of her.
I think it would have been more realistic if she tried to help, became overbearing, and then Veronica kind of snapped at her for being overbearing.
Or even like if she said from the get-go why she was like avoiding her.
Yeah.
Instead of just like maybe not say like the die thing, but just be like scared of the whole possession thing.
Yeah.
And be like, no,
just to ignore her
get away from me,
outright,
you spiritual demon.
Yeah. That just seemed really. Granted, I know that the Spanish Catholicism aspect of it, they probably believe in this stuff a lot more hardcore than either you or I would in that same situation.
Yeah.
Like I'd probably be looking for, if you passed out when we did a seance in our school's basement, I probably would have started looking for asbestos to make sure that didn't make you pass out for some reason.
Yeah.
But it was overall, it's just a really suspenseful, terrifying, creepy movie. In my opinion, it's probably the scariest movie we've watched in these 3 weeks so far.
100%.
And I think it's really well done. and well made by Paco Plaza, and it's just a solid film with great acting, great writing, great suspense, great cinematography, everything, Glenn.
Yeah, everything about
except
this
for
movie.
Rosa.
Everything, yeah, fucking Rosa. Everything about this movie is really good. And there was a complaint that I was going to say, like, about halfway through the movie. I was like, oh, this kind of actress seems like really dead when she's acting. And then it all kind of makes sense in the end. It's like, well, yeah, that's kind of the point, Glenn. Nice try, you fucking guy.
That's the point.
It all comes to fruition.
But yeah, I could see that. She is kind of like...
There's just certain moments where she, like, there's no personality. But it makes sense. Obviously, that's not like she just didn't have personality throughout the whole movie. But there was just a moment where I was like, she seems kind of dead, man. Like, there's such a certain... Oh, that's why she's dead. Because there's a demon possessing her literal body at moments. This makes sense.
Oh, man. I don't want to say that we are, shattering the glass ceiling here, but all three of our films have been very female-centric. And
I didn't even think about it, to be honest.
You know what? You're welcome, women. Just kidding. No, that's just the thing that I noticed while we were talking. Other Lamb, the Monster, Veronica are all female centric, which is great.
Yeah.
I apologize for that horrendous joke, but
well, I think it's also a thing that, like, most horror movies are female centric.
Yeah. I think
guys can be scared too.
I think it's a psychological thing for the audience where people are more worried. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, I don't know. But like they're more worried for women than they are.
I think you
for
definitely
men.
feel more attached to like women characters in scary movies.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
you kind of want to protect them. I don't know if it's like an instinct thing or a patriarchy thing.
Most characters in horror movies, they're like men characters. They seem to be like a more protective and such like that. And just manly roles, I guess we could say.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Definitely. But yeah, I'd be excited to see anything else that Paco Plaza's done. I'm going to look up to see if he's done anything else. Because I really enjoy this. I remember when I first watched it, it had more mixed reviews. It looks like it's gone up a bit since then.
Yeah.
He directed the original Rec and Rec 2, which on our end, across the pond here, became Quarantine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He did the Spanish versions, which were then remade into the American version of Quarantine.
Oh, nice. I was actually trying to watch Quarantine soon.
Yeah.
But now I might watch Rec.
So yeah, he's really well established here. He has another movie called Eye for an Eye, which looks interesting. But I don't have too much to say, too much more to say about this. I'm glad that the ratings have gone up because it's definitely a better film than when I watched it. I think it was at like a 4.8 or something on IMDb. I'm glad to see that audiences are finally accepting it because it's a great film in my opinion.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. You got anything else to say?
Honestly, I think we covered the bases.
All right, so let's get into the judgment. It is Netflix Roulette Week, so I don't know who goes. Glenn, would you like to go first? Does this become a shelf
I can
boy?
Go. We're gonna make a jack-o'-lantern and put it on the spoopy shelf of movie shelfness.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
So yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's a solid film. It's got great suspense. It shows the creature just the right amount or the spirit just the right amount. So I would agree that this becomes a little shelf boy with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. And that's great. I'm glad that you enjoy this because when Netflix Roulette picked this and it was between this and that Val Kilmer movie, which honestly looked horrible to me.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you agreed to go with this because I really enjoyed it and wanted to talk to someone.
Yeah, the only reason I did want to watch it was because of Val Kilmer. So
yeah, that's a solid reason, really. But let's get into plugs. Glenjamin Bun, what is your plug for this week?
Since we're in the spoopy season and I couldn't find any plugs, I found one eventually. How to beat every Saw trap in the first Saw movie, I believe.
Ooh.
So there's this guy I found, Hit Start on YouTube, and he's got a little video. He's like, the main reason people really die in these Saw movies is because they're panicking and not thinking, understandably, but also they could just not die if they thought about it for a second. So like a lot of the traps in there, like he has a logical explanation for like certain ones. Like there was like a barbed wire one where like it was a big boy kind of just jumped on the barbed wire and tried to get through it instead of, just going to the bottom, where on the floor.
Going delicately.
And crossing it. He just like literally jumped on it. There was one where the chick, all she had to do was really or not the chick, it was somebody had to just put like that face mask one where it rips your whole face open. Where you just got to put.
She's the one that does survive.
Oh, she is. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Saw.
It's called the reverse bear trap, by the way.
Oh, is it? Well, wow.
Yeah. I was really into Saw until about Saw 4, and Saw 4 was awful, and then I stopped watching them.
Yeah, I think I watched 2 of the Saws. I think maybe 3. I have no idea, to be honest with you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But the first one was glorious, and so is this video. Maybe that's for you to find out.
Yeah. So what is that again?
How to Beat Every Saw Trap by Hit Start on YouTube.
But let's get into the video, where we'll break down the movie as well as how you can beat all of the traps in it. The original Saw movie starts with 2 men waking up in a torture chamber chained to pipes by their ankles. Neither of them know anything about what's going on or why they're here. One of the men is a photographer named Adam, and the other is Lawrence Gordon, a medical doctor. Although they believe they've been chosen randomly, their storylines are actually very closely intertwined, but more on that later. In the middle of the room, we see a man lying on the floor who's holding a revolver in one hand and a tape recorder in the other.
On YouTube. I also went with the spoopy theme for my plug. There is this channel on YouTube called What Culture. They do a lot of top 10s or bottom 10s, 10, 11, 12s. They count things. They like to count. They like numbers. They're like Count Dracula.
Damn, you got me.
In Sesame Street or whatever. Is his name Count Dracula? Or is it just the Count? I think it's just the Count.
I think it's Count.
But either way, they have a video called 10 Brilliant Horror Movie Monsters You Are Completely Unprepared For. It's essentially just a list of horror movie monsters that you were unprepared for.
Oh, that makes sense.
It kind of focuses on the ones that like become iconic and are slow builds to these monsters for the most part. There are a few that you see the entire time, but either way, it breaks down a good top 10 for the horror movie monsters, and it's that is 10 brilliant horror movie monsters you are completely unprepared for on What Culture on YouTube.
Whether it's a mega-budget blockbuster like Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim, or a little indie horror gem like Isolation, monster movies cannot hope to succeed unless they impress with some inventive design. After all, no one is watching an American werewolf in London so they can get a glimpse of London, or Americans. And really, even in slow-burn think pieces or paranormal fare, we are still always itching for a really good creature to pop up and steal the show, as the reveal is at its best if it takes us completely by surprise. There's nothing quite like that holy shit moment when something strange comes out of nowhere, or when the monster we signed up for is incomprehensibly bigger and badder than we ever had cause to expect. So let's take a look at the movies that we didn't think had it in them then, only to floor us with a creative, terrifying, or straight up surreal monster when we thought we'd seen it all.
I'm gonna peep that just actually after this because I'm curious.
I'm gonna peep your little Saw movie after this.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely one that I fully expect to be on that list, and I want to see if it's on there or not.
Whoever edits this will cut it out. Just tell me what it is. I won't tell you if it is or not.
Did the movie?
Oh. I wish it was on there. That would have been better.
That would have been amazing because that's a great monster.
That is a great monster. But yeah, that brings us to our pick, our assignment for next week. Glenjamin Button, we have been doing relatively new movies. I think all of our movies so far have been out from the past 5 years.
For the most part, yeah.
We're going to take it back to a movie that I haven't seen. I honestly did not check to see if you've seen it, but I definitely have not seen it, which I feel like
I definitely have not seen it until about an hour into the movie when I realize I've seen it. So
this is true. So this is a film with Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Jeff Goldblum, and Leonard Nimoy. It is from 1978, and it is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, wow. This is definitely not a movie that I've seen or may have seen.
This is
within
one
an
I've
hour.
been meaning to see for quite some time and just haven't gotten around to. It is written by W.D. Richter, based on the novel by Jack Finney, directed by Philip Kaufman, and it is about... sorry, I kind of had an aneurysm there.
Spasms, yes.
When strange seeds... Glenn, stop possessing me, Glenn. Glenn, stop possessing me. When strange seeds drift to Earth from space, mysterious pods begin to grow and invade San Francisco, California, where they replicate the residents into emotionless automatons, one body at a time. And that is available on Amazon Prime. So that will be our assignment for next week, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay.
From 1978, I think there might be one before that, but this is the one that I think is more iconic.
They come from a dying world. They drift through the universe, pushed on by the solar winds. They adapt, and they survive. The function of all life is survival. Sleep. From deep space, the seed is planted. Terror grows.
Matthew!
Like the others.
Elizabeth, wake up! Get you when you sleep. Sit up!
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I think this one's actually like a remake, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's not the remake from...
They're not the same movies.
Yeah, there's one with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig that is based off the same novel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that one, it's the old one, but maybe not the oldest one. It's like A Star is Born, but for horror movies. There's probably been like 10 versions of it.
Yeah, I think there's a few, but
so yeah,
I know which one you're speaking of.
Yep, that is our assignment for next week. You can find that on AmazonPrime.com. I mean, that's not the website, but you know what I'm saying. As always, you can check out our website, www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, Keystone_film_review, Twitter, Keystone_film, Facebook, Keystone Film Review, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we invade each other's bodies. Or snatch each other's bodies. Either way.
Nothing different's happening from our regularly weekly schedule.
Nothing different is happening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.